Hey guys, it's Miss Butler here. I wanted to give you guys a chance to finish up the lesson that we started yesterday about words that repeat. We got a little rushed at the end, so I wanted to be sure that you guys were clear about what we were doing. So just to recap what we did yesterday, first of all, we previewed the title and the subheadings. So we noticed that it was a blanket around the earth. We scrolled to the first subheading and said gases that contribute to the greenhouse effect. So we realized that gases might be an important word and greenhouse effect might be an important word. We scrolled down to the next subheading, how human activities create a natural greenhouse, and we thought human activities was probably important and natural greenhouse was probably important. And then we scrolled down to the role of human activity. Again, human activity is our first piece of repetition. And then we're ready to read the article. So we read part of it and we looked at the words that repeated, especially just picking up. I wanted to show you how, even though what we're reading about is hard to understand, honestly, I still don't entirely get it. But you can actually get the central idea without even completely understanding it perfectly, just by looking for words that repeat. So I wanted to give you guys some good strategies to use when you're reading informational texts, especially texts that can be hard. So we finished the first section about the gases, and we noticed that words that repeated was global warming, greenhouse effect, warming came up again, gases, heat, climate change. And then we talked about the different gases that contribute to the greenhouse effect. We talked about water vapor and how it warms. We talked about carbon dioxide and how it's from human activities. We talked about fossil fuels. We talked about methane gas, and we talked about how it was a greenhouse gas. We talked about nitrous oxide and how it was a greenhouse gas. And chlorofluorocarbons, which are also a greenhouse gas. So that was the different types of gases. And they didn't repeat a whole lot through the story, so the article, so I think I'm going to leave those alone. Then we got to the section about how human activities create a natural greenhouse, and I believe that's where we left off. So over the last century, the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has increased. I've noticed they've talked about carbon dioxide a lot, so I highlighted that word. This has been caused in a large part by the burning of fossil fuels. That seems to be a word that comes up a lot as well, so I'm going to highlight that as well. When coal or oil is burned, it combines carbon with oxygen in the air to make CO2. Greenhouse gases also increase when humans clear land for farms and buildings. Greenhouse gases also repeated. It is difficult to predict how the increase in the greenhouse effect will impact the planet. Still, certain effects seem likely. On average, Earth will become warmer. Some regions may welcome warmer temperatures. In other places, warmer temperatures may be dangerous. So we've got warmer repeated 3 times. Warmer conditions will probably lead to more rain and snow overall. However, some places may become drier than they used to be. A stronger greenhouse effect will warm the oceans. This will partially melt glaciers and other ice. In turn, the sea levels will rise. As the ocean water warms, it also will expand. Then the sea level will rise even further. I noticed that greenhouse effect came up again. And I noticed that warms came up again. More CO2 may be good for some plants. They could grow more quickly and use water more efficiently. At the same time, higher temperatures and shifting climate patterns may change the areas where crops grow best. Natural plant communities will probably change. This next section is about the role of human activity, so it's still talking about what human activity does. So a group of 1,300 independent scientific experts from all over the world came together to study climate change. The group concluded that there was a more than 95% probability that human activities warmed the planet. So I've got human activities again and warmed again. Modern humans depend upon industrial activities. These activities have helped raise CO2 levels significantly. Over the past 50 years, Earth's temperature has increased. You know what? Increased has come up a lot too. I'm going to add that one as well. The group says there's a high probability that human-produced greenhouse gases cause that temperature to increase too. The rate of increase in global warming is unlike anything Earth has experienced in 10,000 years, the scientists say. So global warming came up again. So then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick look at the first paragraph and the last paragraph, because what I'm trying to do is get to the central idea. So the first paragraph is about most climate scientists agree on the main cause of global warming. They say the leading cause is a human-driven increase of the greenhouse effect. The warming effect traps the Earth's heat in the lower part of the atmosphere, the cloud of gases that surrounds Earth's surface. So I kind of got an idea that this was about human effects for global warming. I think that's part of it. And then I scroll down to the bottom, and the last section was about the rate of increase in global warming is unlike anything Earth has experienced in 10,000 years, scientists say. Now what I need to do is take some of these words and see if I can bring them all together to make a central idea statement. So I've pulled some of the words that came up together, and I think I may need to add a few as well and put them on a slide. So some of the words that repeated were greenhouse effect, gases, human activities, warming, climate change, atmosphere, global warming. I think I'm going to add increase to that. And then I think that's about good. So now what we've got to do, now that all we've done, even though I didn't totally understand what the whole article was about, I pulled the words that seemed to come up the most. So these are the words that seem to come up the most, the words that repeated the most. So now my task is going to be to put together a really cool sentence based on those words. How can I put all of those words together to show what the central idea is all about? Well, for one thing, I think I'm going to start with the word that seemed to be what it's most about. So I kind of think that either global warming or climate change is the things that it's mostly about, but it could be greenhouse effect. But I think I'm going to start with global warming. So I could start with global warming. And then I need to talk about how is when gases are trapped and warming the atmosphere, the increase in gases is caused by human activities. Do you see how just by pulling those words together, we've made an amazing central idea statement? I have another good central idea statement that you guys can check out on the 8th grade wall. So I want you to try to see if you can also write one of your own as well. Okay? And then we're going to be doing a little activity with looking at the central idea for some other works. Okay? Thanks, guys.